Is going further, guys. I want to thank everybody for showing up. But this week actually we're learning the Parsha of Nasso, and you see Parsha of Nasso. We're going to soon see what it discusses. But before that, as you know, every Parsha has a Haftarah. What Haftarah is, there was a time in our history that the Jews were not allowed to study Torah. They couldn't even read the Torah in public. It wasn't times of the Greeks or the Romans. I'm not sure which situation it was. And the reason why they forbade them to study Torah, because if the Jews study Torah, then they know how to keep the commandments. If they know how to keep the commandments, they will not assimilate with the other people. So they wanted to destroy Judaism. They said you're not allowed to learn Torah or read the Torah in public. So the rabbis came with an idea. The Romans or the Greeks had nothing against learning the stories of the Navi, the prophets, because really the prophets don't teach you any law. It's just mostly stories of what happened in the previous lives. Yeah, you got to go serve God maybe, but there was really no rules or laws that you learn from there. So they allowed them to actually read the stories of the Navi, the prophet. So what did the rabbis do? They said just like when we were allowed to take out the Torah, you had seven people going up to the Torah, each one had to read 3 psukim. So they said we're going to actually read the Navi, called 7 people to read the Navi. You have to have at least 21 verses. But then later on, the Greek or the Roman decree was nullified. It was totally destroyed. So we were able to study Torah again. But the rabbi said, you know what? Since we already started reading the Haftarah, we're going to read the Haftarah too. That's now we have the Torah and the Haftarah. And what happens is, how did they choose the Haftarahs? So mostly, they found something similar to the Parsha, and they made that into the Haftarah. So the Haftarah we're going to learn this week is the story with Shimshon. Everyone knows about Shimshon? Samson, the mighty one, Shimshon Agibur. What was the story? The story is that, his father's name, Manoach. The father's name was Manoach, and the wife, which is the mother of Shimshon, her name was Tzelel Poni. Tzelel Poni means that the Tzel is shadow, Kel is God. Tzelel Poni means that God turned to him. The story is that she was actually infertile. She was like barren lady. She wasn't able to have any children. Remember, in those days, nobody knew whose fault it is that he can't have kids. So Manoach is married for a long time to his wife Tzelel Poni. They have no children. But the Torah tells us, the Navi tells us, who was actually the barren one was Tzelel Poni, Shimshon's mother. So then one day she's sitting in the field, and an angel of God comes. And the angel of God tells Tzelel Poni, you're the barren one, but you're going to have a child. And then your child is going to be holy from the stomach. You can't drink wine. You can't have anything that's connected to grapes, right? You got to be careful, whatever, to keep yourself very holy. And this child is going to be a Nazir who will never be able to shave his head. That was the story of Shimshon. He had long hair. Anyways, the lady sees this. She's excited. So she runs to the husband and he says, listen, I saw a man that it looked like an angel of God. This guy wasn't the man, it was an angel of God. Came in the form of a human being. Says, I saw a man that looks like an angel of God. And he says, I'm going to be pregnant, I'm going to have a child, and I was going to be a holy kid. The husband didn't believe it. He thought, maybe she's hallucinating because she so much badly wants to have a child that she thinks an angel talked to her. So it says, what? Let's pray to God. If it's true, the angel should come back again. The next day, the angel comes back to the woman again, not to the husband. So she runs to the husband and he says, the angel came to me. Come look at the angel. Not the angel, the man. Didn't know it was an angel. Anyway, so they both go. So then he sees this holy looking, being. So Manoach says, tell me, did you speak to my wife? What did you want my wife to do? So it says, yeah, whatever I told her is true. The kid is going to be holy. And that's it. Now, a few things that did change, 2 questions that we're going to discuss. Number one, when the angel came to the man, when the man came, the husband, he didn't say your wife is the barren one. All he said was that your wife is going to get pregnant. But when he saw the woman alone the first time, he said, you're the barren one. Why didn't he say the full truth? Exactly. You touched it. It's actually because of the Shalom Bayit. Exactly. You see, what happens is, in those days, they didn't know whose fault it was. So imagine if he would come and tell the angel, you know what? Your wife is the one who's barren. So his wife would be disgusted in his eyes. What, I married somebody, that can't have any children? You know how it is. Actually, there's a very strong statement in the Midrash. The statement in the Midrash says that if he would have known that his wife is at fault, he would have said, look, I married a mule. It's a very, very disgusting word, very sharp word. A mule is someone that can't have any children, right?
After 10 years.
It's a breed. No, mule is a breed of a.
After 10 years, if she, you have to stick with them for 10 years.
Bro, I'm not discussing that.
After 10 years,
you could divorce it. In the olden days, not now. I'm not discussing. What I'm discussing is mule is a mixed breed of a horse and a donkey, and therefore can't have any children. So here we see God did not say the full truth, not to destroy the peace that was between husband and wife. Very, very important thing to know. You see, whenever you stand in front of husband and wife, right? Could be the man is weird, maybe the woman is weird in our eyes. I'm not saying they're weird. We think they're weird. Maybe you're the weird ones. I don't know. So sometimes we give ourselves the freedom to make a statement that actually brings the woman in a lower status towards the husband, or vice versa. We say something negative about the husband in front of the wife. From this parsha we learn we're not allowed to do this. You have to say things that actually makes the respect of the woman more in the eyes of the husband, and also makes the husband more respectful in the eyes of the wife. That's why the angel, when he came to the mother of Shimshon, he told the mother of Shimshon, you're the barren one. But when the husband came the second time, he didn't say she's the barren one, he said she's going to give birth. So they really didn't know whose fault it is. That's number one. Number two, the other point that we discussed is the first time the angel came to the wife, right? And he says, oh, you're going to have a child. It's going to be a holy kid. She went and told the husband, some holy looking man came to me. So the husband didn't believe it, thought she's hallucinating. So he says, please, whoever the man is, come back to us again. Who did the angel go to the second time? Still to the wife. And then she had to go and call the husband, hey, let's go. The angel came, the man came. So why didn't he come the first time, or at least the second time, to both of them? So here the commentators say, because he wanted to elevate the respect and the honor of the wife. He's going to say, wow, they found out at the end that he was an angel. He says, look what a holy wife I have. An angel appeared to her before the angel appeared to me. So you see what God does exactly? He does things to make the love between husband and wife even more. Is that clear, people? So I'm going to discuss a few of these things. Because again, I'm not telling you to get married tomorrow. Please don't. You have to go on a date at least a few months. Don't get married the next time when you meet a girl. I don't call that love. I call that infatuation. If you know nothing about the boy or the girl, why are you rushing to get married so fast? Correct? And please don't go on a date for 2 years either. It's dangerous. Because then you're going to see too many negative things. We'll never get married. It's always good to know things in general that mostly it works. It's good, and then you get married. Anyways, but again, if you're going, to learn how to drive, you go to classes, correct? 6 hours, 10 hours, and that's pretty much easy, Once you get the concept of driving, you never forget it, hopefully. But getting married is something very, very serious. You're dealing with your emotions, your stability, more important, your spouse's emotions. You're dealing with the future of your kids. So obviously, we have to know what we're getting into. So what we're going to discuss today actually is not so much, who you should look for to get married. That's too early. But at least the concept of marriage, which is connected to this week's parsha, we have to do things that actually makes the peace between husband and wife a lot more. As you know, guys, in halacha, it says lying is something that God hates very much. Where do we learn that from? For example, when it comes to kosher food, what does the Torah say, guys? What's the word? Don't eat non-kosher animals. Does the Torah say distance yourself from non-kosher animals? Like if you see a McDonald's, go 3 blocks away before you pass by it. There's no such thing. You're allowed to walk outside of a McDonald's. Nobody says you have to cross the street. There's no such thing. All the Torah says, don't eat non-kosher food. But when it comes to lying, the Torah doesn't say just don't lie. It says midvar sheker tirchak. Distance yourself from lies. Don't even bring yourself to a situation that it looks like a lie, even if you're not lying. One of the examples that the Torah brings is there was one rabbi that somebody else owed him money, right? Somebody owed him $200. Now, for me to take the money out, if there's no document, I have to have 2 witnesses. And they say we saw this rabbi lending money to this guy, right? He didn't have 2 witnesses. He only had 1 witness. If you have one witness, all you can do is make the guy swear that no, you didn't lend me the money. If he doesn't swear, then he has to pay you back. But he can't extract the money right away. So the rabbi tells his friend, I have one witness. All I want you to do is walk with the other witness. Don't say a word. So the guy that owes me thinks you're the second witness and he's going to admit. He didn't want to do anything. Just stand there for him to think that I have a second witness. So the other guy said, no, this is false. You're showing as if you have two witnesses. The Torah says distance yourself from lying. So you really have to go far, far from lying. But then when it comes to Shalom Bayit between husband and wife, the Torah allows you not to say the full truth. Let's go through it. Where did we find that? One of them is from this week's Haftarah, right? God told the woman, you're the barren one, so her husband didn't say the full truth. God didn't lie, but he didn't say the full truth. Let's go to a certain part that actually we see that God did change the truth, or didn't say the full truth. Okay, guys, how old was Abraham when God told him he's going to have a baby?
90.
No, Sarah was 90. Sarah was 89. She had the baby at 90. So 99, right? So he's 99, she's 89, 10 years difference. So what happens is, God never told Sarah that she's going to have a baby. God told Abraham that you're going to have a baby. Abraham had no time, he forgot to tell his wife, for whatever reason. Then the three angels come, right? The three angels in the shape of a human being. And they tell Abraham, you know what, next year, your wife is going to have a child. So Abraham knew that because God told him. Sarah didn't know. And besides that Sarah didn't know, these guys didn't look like angels. They look like three regular people. So imagine a guy is 99 years old, he has no babies. Or a woman is 89, has no children. If I'm going to walk over to her, you know what? You 89-year-old lady, you're going to have a baby. She's not going to believe it. Because she's not babies for 89 years, correct? And Sarah didn't know these are angels. So she didn't believe it. So she said, you know what? There's two ways to learn this. One way is, it says, after I'm so old, I'm going to get a smooth skin. Come on, I'm not going to have a baby. She was full of wrinkles. Besides the fact, my master is an old man. Who's Sarah's master? The husband. So Sarah said two things. I'm an old woman. And he didn't say my husband. He didn't say my hubby. He said respectful words. My master is old. So God got upset at Sarah. Because even if you don't believe that you're going to have a child, don't make fun of it. Answer Amen. Let's say if somebody, God forbid, is sick, stage 4. Doctor said there's no hope for him, he's going to die, right? And I want to come to you and say, you know what, I hope he's going to get well. You're going to make fun of it? Even if you don't believe he's going to get good, you're going to say, Amen. Who knows, maybe a miracle will happen. It's unlikely, but it could happen. So at least say Amen. So the sin of Sarah was, she didn't say Amen. She made fun of it. So God tells Abraham, I don't get it. Why did Sarah say she's too old? What, is anything impossible for God? Now God changed something. Sarah said, I'm old and my master is old. Correct? What did God repeat to Abraham? Why did Sarah say that she is old? God skipped that Sarah also said that you, Abraham, are old. Why did God skip that part? Because that would hurt maybe their Shalom Bayit. Imagine, I'm going to tell my wife, no, I would say, I'm just saying as a joke. Baruch Hashem, my wife is always young because no matter how old we get, she's always 5 years younger than me. So I have a young wife all the time. But imagine I would tell my wife, oh, you know what, you're old. You're not as young as you used to be. Even if it's true, it hurts. Or imagine my wife is going to tell me, you know what, when I married you, you had black hair, you were handsome, you had some hair on your head, now you're completely bald, you put this kippah to cover your baldness. It's all true, but it's going to make me feel bad if I'm old. So God didn't want to tell Sarah, you know, to tell Abraham, I'm sorry, why did your wife say you're old? Because that would hurt Abraham's feelings, and that would diminish the Shalom Bayit between them, correct? But let's think for a moment. You think Abraham would go get a younger wife? No, you know why? Because first of all, loved Sarah. Secondly, he already had a younger wife, Hagar. He had Ishmael at that time. Ishmael was 13 years old. Correct? Or 12, 13. Ishmael was 13 or 12 years old at that time. So he already had a younger wife. So even let's say if Abraham would get hurt, would that really damage their marriage? I don't think so. But would make a little friction. So God is willing not to say the full truth, not to cause friction between husband and wife. This is how important it is. Whenever Hopefully, guys, when you get married, you know what I'm saying? You have to know that Shalom Bayit is the foundation of the house. You don't do things that hurt your wife's feeling. You don't do things that's going to hurt your husband's feeling. If you could do it in a nice way. And for sure, there's always a nice way. When you see other couples, you should only say words that makes their love extra, more. Not that God brings any of them down. Now let's go to another place that we see you could lie to cause Shalom Bayit. It's a very famous Gemara. The Gemara says when you go to a wedding, right? So you dance and you make them happy, but then part of the making them happy was to say words that really makes the husband very, very happy. So when you dance, what kind of words should you say to make the husband happy? So the Gemara says the words that you should do, you say Kala na v'chasuda. What's a Kala, people? Kala is a bride. You said the Kala is Na'a, she's beautiful, v'chasuda, and she's pious. Now the Gemara says, what do you say if the Kala is ugly? You know, the Gemara goes into details. Thank God no woman is ugly. Only the ones in China are ugly. All the Jewish girls are beautiful. Or maybe the ones in Tijuana are ugly. That's the joke I say. The ones in Tijuana that are not Jewish. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But again, the Gemara asks, what if the woman is not beautiful? What are you going to say? Kala na v'chasuda? So now, you know, Bet Shammai was very, very strict. So Bet Shammai says, you know what? You have to find something beautiful in this girl, and you praise the girl with those beautiful things in front of the husband. If she has beautiful eyes, for example, beautiful nose, I don't know, beautiful skin, you say things that she has beautiful. You're not going to say, okay, she's beautiful, because she's not, but say she has beautiful nose, beautiful skin, whatever, beautiful smile, beautiful dimples, whatever you can find, whatever it is you say. But Hillel says that's not good, because by every other wedding, you said the Kala is beautiful. Suddenly, by this one, it's only the nose is beautiful. That means everything else is ugly. That's not proper. So Beit Hillel says, no matter what the wife looks like, you say Kala na v'chasuda. She's a beautiful, pious woman. So then Shammai says, how could you lie? So you know what Hillel answers? He says, you know what? Imagine somebody went and bought a car. You went and bought a car. Really, the price is $30,000. But the guy cheated you, sold it for $35,000, and you can't return it. So what would you do? Oh my gosh, you got cheated. You could have bought this for $30,000. So Hillel says, you don't do that. Once he bought it and I can't give it back, you say good things. Now this guy is marrying this woman because he loves something about her. You're not going to say he got a bad, merchandise. I mean, it's a very bad word, but that's the terminology the Gemara uses for a guy that buys something. Therefore, you have to say that she's beautiful. But again, how could you lie? So Mefarshim say simply learning, besides the fact that of course she must be beautiful that he's marrying her, but it says in order to make peace between husband and wife, you're allowed to lie too. So from one side, God says, distance yourself from lying. It's worse than any other sin, right? It doesn't just say don't lie. Distance yourself from lying. But when it comes to bringing Shalom Bayit, peace between husband and wife, you're allowed to even change the truth. Clear, people? Definitely we cannot hurt our spouses. You have to be very careful. And if we do, we have to apologize. Nothing wrong with apologizing. Not only that, you get actually more respect. When somebody admits the truth that he made a mistake, he gets more respect. Now, actually, where do we learn this from? To make peace, you're allowed to lie. It's not only between husband and wife. Everyone knows the story of Aaron HaKohen. It says that all of us should be student of Aaron. Because he used to pursue peace and he loved peace, right? How did he pursue peace? So it says when Aaron saw two people fought, they were arguing, they didn't talk to each other. Let's say Reuben and Shimon were fighting. So he went to Reuben and he said, Reuben, I want to tell you something. This Shimon is really so sorry that he had an argument with you, but he's embarrassed to come and say, I'm sorry. But deep down, he's sorry. He told me. So when you see him next time, befriend him. So now Reuben thinks that Shimon is sorry. But then it's not really true. So before Reuben had a chance to see Shimon, Aaron went to Shimon and he said, just talk to Reuben. Reuben really wants to say sorry, but he doesn't have the courage. When he see him, befriend him. So when they both saw each other, each one thought that the other guy is sorry. And they hugged each other. From here, we see that you're allowed to change the truth. to make peace between two people. So we learn it from Aaron HaKohen, and actually the Mishnah says we should all try to be children of, students of Aaron HaKohen. But you see, we learn one thing. You see, unfortunately, in this world that we live, in the secular world, you see people, them cause more fights, right? Oh, this guy did this, and you don't like the guy. You do something, that fight breaks out. We learn from this week's Haftorah, and also from the attitude of Aaron, not only between husband and wife, between two human beings. We should always pursue peace. Very, very important point that we learn from this week's Parsha. Any questions, guys, before we go to another Torah? Another thing, okay. Now that we spoke about marriage, we're going to just, say another point. By the way, I just want to say that the class has changed a little bit.
Yeah, I haven't been here.
I know. So these are the younger generation. The older generation also come, but not as often. But don't give up. Bring. Everybody's young here. So please bring back your friends. I have a class in Los Angeles on Wednesdays. There's a little bit of an older group that they come. But anyways, she was actually one of the first group. I think she went to like a college, university somewhere that you're not around.
I'm back from Barbados, taking the semester.
Okay, Baruch Hashem. Anyways, guys, one of the things that I wanted to discuss with you is the concept of, why do we really get married? Guys, why do you get married? Tell me. Why do you want to get married so much? Maybe you don't. I don't know. You want to get married?
Why I want to get married?
Yeah. It's a tough question. Not you. Why should a person get married? Come on, have all the fun, be friends till 40 years old, till 50, like Europeans,
I'd have to
Good.
go.
They want to unite with each other and help each other throughout life.
He said you get married because you want to help.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Any other reason? Start a family, okay.
I feel like having a significant other brings happiness.
So you want to make her happy, you make yourself happy, you make both of each other happy.
Yeah,
Each one.
mainly for me, but yeah,
So you want to get married, so you should become happy.
yeah,
And if you don't become happy, the heck with the marriage, huh?
outro.
No. No, I love your honesty. I'm not kidding. Unless you wanted to make some laugh in the class.
No, I'm not a jerk.
Okay, anyways. Guys, putting all the jokes aside. I just tell you one thing. We do not get married because I'm gaining something. If I get married because I'm gaining something, that's a business. I don't get married to do business. I knew somebody that he always used to look what is lacking and the other girl can fill up. So I said, and it ended up in a divorce. So I said, tell me, do you really get married to fill your void? Doesn't always work out. It's not a business,
It's a chapter in life.
Yeah, I don't get married because I need somebody to wash my dishes or wash my clothes. I don't do that, God forbid. So let's go through it, guys. Two reasons why we get married. I mean, there's obviously other things too, but the main two things that we get married, number one is because God gives me an opportunity to do kindness to somebody else. 1 second, I could do kindness without getting married too. We all have friends. We do favors for each other, but there's a difference. You're not 24/7 with your friends. Correct? If you're not in the mood of your friend one day, sorry, I'm not in your mood. I don't want to see you today. Nothing wrong. You can't tell your wife or your kid today, I'm not in your mood. The kid is hungry, I'm not in your mood today. I don't want to give you food. Right? Or the woman needs, gas for the car. I'm not in your mood today. Walk. Take a bus. You don't do that. Because your husband and wife, you're living 24 hours, you're going to have children. Over there, God gives you opportunity 24/7 to be kind. Now, why does God want you to be kind to somebody else? So don't be kind to somebody else. Because when you get married, you become a godly being. What's the difference of God and a human being? A human being is a taker. I'm a receiver. Take is a bad word. Receiver. As children, mommy give me this, daddy give me this. We're basically receivers. The moment you get married, and then that's a person. That's a child, I'm sorry. The moment you get married, you have to be a giver. It's not always me. I got to forget myself, give to my wife, give to my husband, give to my kids. Isn't that what God is? God doesn't need anything, doesn't take anything. He only gives. So when the whole institution of marriage is because God wants to make us godly, similar to Him. So when Mashiach will come, we'll deserve to be united with Him. That's reason number one why we get married. Of course, when you give, you will receive too. Any normal marriage, if the husband is out there to do kindness to his wife, of course he's going to receive kindness too. When a woman is kind to the husband, again, if they're normal people, of course, the husband will give back to his wife. But again, I'm there to do kindness. You hear that, guys? It's not for the physical pleasure. It's not because she makes tons of money. It's not because he makes tons of money. No problem. We have to know that. I'm getting married to become a godly being because God gives me opportunity to give. Honestly, if you go with such mind into marriage, the rate of divorce will be a lot less. Our problem is that what do I gain? What are you bringing for me that I got married to you? You get what I'm saying, people? That's reason number one. Reason number two, we want Judaism to continue. So we get married to have children. Let's say even if people get married, they have no children. God forbid. It's not a waste because they both became godly by being kind to each other. So remember that with this attitude, you go to marriage. You heard that? So now what are you getting, Mr. Joyce? Why are you going to get married? Because you want to get happy? You want to do kindness.
Kindness.
Because that makes you happy.
Exactly.
Awesome. Anyways, guys, thank you. Go ahead.
Is there any rules in the Torah about a prenup?
There's no such thing in the Torah. You could do it, though. There's no such thing.
Anything like against or?
I wouldn't do it. You know why? Because the minute you come with prenup, that means there's no trust. If I believe that my wife is my other half,
But there's no need for a prenup, right?
that means whatever I do for myself, she's my extension. I'll do for her. She's part of me. The moment I do prenup, that means there's some doubts. We never did prenup. Our kids never did prenup. It's unfortunate. The world has reached such a stage that people are afraid. They do it. Would I say don't marry the guy if he wants prenup? I don't know. I'm not a therapist. I spoke to some therapists. They say, yeah, it's okay, do it. Everybody's doing it. It became normal. I don't know about that.
Yeah,
But that's in the secular world.
like let's say you're a man who's very wealthy and you're gonna marry a woman who's not like pretty poor.
And you're afraid of that.
Yeah. 'Cause,
Talk
like,
to your therapist.
but like how do you know if they're not just like acting like
No, you're right. Honestly, you're right. And I'm telling you, it's unfortunate. The therapist told me that became the normal.
Yeah.
But I think you should go through therapy to figure you guys out. In the real Orthodox society, we know we get married to stay married. Nobody gets married to get the money. At least the percentage is very little. In the secular world, there's a bigger danger, unfortunately. You know, from childhood, they tell us you got to get married. You got to do kindness to your wife. If you brought up with such attitude, you're not there to gain. You're there to give. But in the secular world, it's the opposite. What are you bringing into the marriage? I think it was a very important class, honest to God. Guys, think about it. There are many, many books about marriage. When you get to the marriageable age, not right now, when you hit 24, 25, and you want to get married, I beg you, please, guys, there's so many Jewish books that explain to you what the purpose of marriage is. Remember, it has to do with you, with your spouse, with your children. It's not a joke. Divorce is not a joke. It damages both parties, especially the children if they're kids. Definitely want to do it right. Right?
Right.
That's it.